Wow. I mean, oh my god, like, Jesus Christ, Nolan, where did you go wrong? I mean, you were riding high. You had The Dark Knight, you had Inception. I mean, this was your... Oh man, you could have done such a great job with this, and I just don't get how you blew it. I don't get how you completely just wrecked the Batman franchise completely. You heard it straight from the source, people. This is a worse Batman movie than Batman and Robin. Gotcha! No. This movie is great. Is it as good as The Dark Knight? Well, no, but that's a pretty tall order. I mean, very few things are as good as The Dark Knight. Except for Cowboy Bebop the movie, Snatch, A Fish Called Wanda, Inglourious Bastards, The Triples of Belleville, whatever. But yeah, this was a very good movie. It's a nice close on the Nolan trilogy. I think he might leave it open for him to do more, but I don't think he is. I mean, it's ambiguous enough to, you know what, whatever. So, I'm gonna go into this and I'm gonna do something rare. And unlike my other movies where this is what are my other vlogs where I review good movies, I'm gonna spoil a little bit because there's just some stuff I need to talk about. So if you haven't seen the movie and you desperately need to, like, if you want no spoilers, you want to turn off the video now. I mean, I'm not gonna do what Movie Bob did where I'm like, oh, there's a minor spoiler in here, and then just spoil the big midpoint thing of the movie. No, I'm letting you know what you're in for, okay? There's gonna be spoilers. Okay, so, the story for the two of you that have never heard of Batman is, you know, after the events of The Dark Knight... Okay, you know what? That didn't make any sense. But, it's 8 years after the events of The Dark Knight. Gotham is peaceful, and Batman hasn't been seen anywhere. And then all of a sudden, Bane, played by Tom Hardy, just comes in and says, you guys are corrupt and rotten, and you are stepping on everyone to get what you want. I'm gonna nuke your city. And, you know, Batman has to come back, and then Batman has to go through this entire thing where he gets to be Batman again, and you'll understand more when I get into it. So, this was good. I think this is, like, square in the middle of Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. It's a lot more emotional, and it's gonna get you right here at some parts, especially the end. Oh my god. But for me, it took a little bit for me to get invested in the movie again, or for the first time, because I've only seen it once. And there were some things that bugged me, and I'm gonna get that out of the way first. And again, spoilers. For one, it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's a cop, and when he comes in, he comes in and talks to Bruce, who's basically been a recluse for these 8 years. He's like, look, I know who you are. I know you're Batman. And just talks to him through there like that was my big thing. It's like, okay, how did you know? Like, they explained it like, oh, you know, I was an orphan in one of your boys' homes, and, you know, when you visited, it was like the coolest thing ever, but I saw behind your eyes the pain and loss. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Please tell me how you got from pain and loss to Batman, apart from, you know, picking up a Batman comic and reading it. That I didn't get. And the other thing was, at the midpoint before everything goes apeshit, Bane and Batman get into a fight, and, spoilers, Bane breaks the bat, as he's wont to do in the comics. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, in the comic series Nightfall, where I think Bane was first introduced, he got into a fight with Batman and basically took him and broke his spine over his knee. So, he does that in the movie. Sort of. Like, he does that and immobilizes Bruce, and he throws him in this gulag pit for him to recover, and this guy, this cellmate's like, oh, you have a popped vertebrae out of your back. I just need to stick it back in, and then you must go through physical therapy. And yeah, so it's their way of saying, you know, he broke the bat, but not really, because of course, you know, you gotta let Bruce Wayne become, you know, heal his spine to become Batman. That's just not gonna happen when you have a broken spine. So they kind of BS their way out. But no, if you have a vertebrae poking out of your skin, your back's broken. Like, there's no question about that. So I just thought that was really, really silly. And, yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. Oh, okay, no, one more thing. So, Bane. He's a really cool villain in this, and a lot of people, I think, forget that Bane, while also being brutishly strong, is also incredibly smart. So I think they pulled this off well, especially after, you know, his horrible portrayal in Batman and Robin. However, because of the mask he was wearing, it was nearly impossible to hear anything, to understand what he was saying. Like, this one part where he was like, where he announces himself to this entire stadium, he's like, Grr! And it took me 3 whole seconds to realize he said Gotham. Like, it was seriously like Chris Nolan listened to all the complaints about Batman's voice, and he's like, what's that? You can't understand Batman? Well, fuck you, because here's a guy you can understand even less. So by the end of this movie, you're gonna be begging for Christian Bale's growly voice. Yeah. And while we're on the subject, Catwoman's in this movie, or it's Selina Kyle. She never actually gets called Catwoman. And by the way, I love her costume design. That is great. I mean, you got both the cat ears looking thing and the goggles, and you make them look practical. But, basically, I didn't quite buy that their romance was building, and I think part of that is because I cannot fathom any type of romance coming from Christian Bale's Batman voice. Like, listen to this. Shall I compare thee to a warm summer's day, my Juliet? Oh, look at how she rushes her hand across her cheek, where I glove, so that I may rest upon that cheek. Can you see it? I can't. But, good things now. Selina Kyle is, like, Anne Hathaway is great. I mean, she is believable, but at the same time, she also pulls off that sultry Catwoman, you know, tone. That, ooh, what's a girl gotta do to have a good time? And, like, you know, it's that tone we've heard in, like, every Catwoman portrayal. And honestly, I think that's great, because otherwise I don't think I would have believed it was Catwoman as much. I love the dynamic they have. I love their fight scenes together, and that's all I gotta say about that. Oh, she also makes fighting in high heels, what's that word? Not believable. Effective. There we go. But moving on from her, this was probably the most emotional Batman film. Like, there's a moment near the transition from the beginning to the middle where Bruce and Alfred have this moment that is honestly the most ballsy thing. Not ballsy, sorry. Just the most, like, gut-wrenching scene between them. I mean, it's just intense. That's the word I was looking for. It's been a long day today. It's been a long weekend, and my room feels like a friggin' oven. So if I'm a little scatterbrained, it's because I'm seriously uncomfortable. But, so, really just the plot of this movie and just how everything was set up was brilliant. And you know how in The Dark Knight they were... No, most of you don't know. But basically, the earlier Batman movies have drawn from comic inspirations, like plot lines and this and that. Well, this one did too, and it does it very well and very believably. Bane's whole thing is like, he basically blows up all the bridges to Gotham, traps all the police underground, and blows open all the prisons. And when I was watching this, I'm like, oh my god, they're adapting No Man's Land. And it was actually believable why the government wouldn't interfere, because Bane's like, you know, if any of you... no, I'm too clear to be Bane. If any of you guys, if any of your officials send any type of air support or military, then I will detonate a nuke. So, yeah, that happened. And he, God, I'm kind of regretting waiting an entire day to film this vlog. I saw it yesterday, but to be honest, I was just so beat after it, I just couldn't do it. So, yeah, that was just great. I mean, there was a real sense of, like, tension and drama here, and I love that. And the ending is just the biggest gut punch ever. And it's very clear from this that this is not going to converge into any Justice League movie. I'm probably giving away too much, but I refuse to give away some stuff at the end. Like, I refuse to outright say it. And this is just honestly a really good movie. A lot of consequences carried over from the last two movies. The only thing that stops me from saying this is better than The Dark Knight is, one, no Heath Ledger, two, the fact that I was only gradually invested, three, the little niggling things in the back of my mind, and four, the fact that this was the most reliant of the Batman movies in Christopher Nolan's trilogy. Like, you could watch The Dark Knight without having watched Batman Begins, and you would have a whole experience. Like, you'd understand it completely. I'd honestly say, yeah, you could watch it and you wouldn't need Batman Begins to get it, for most of it. With this one, it's reliant on a lot of stuff from the previous two movies. Like, the League of Shadows comes back. The entire thing of civil unrest is because of something Commissioner Gordon did in the last film. And that was another thing. There wasn't enough Commissioner Gordon. Like, he got shot or something, or no, he got injured, and he was in the hospital for like half the movie. So that happened. Jesus Christ, this is probably my weakest vlog right now. But I'm just gonna leave it at, this is a very good Batman movie, and I can identify the themes very well, like hope, civil, civil unrest, like civil unrest within the class structures, rising. Well, it's right there in the title. Wow, this is like one gigantic blooper reel. Oh man, I am opening a window when I'm done with this. Yeah, it's right there in the title. Rising, Ascension. And it was just a very nice a very nice end of the trilogy. I also really liked the reference to the comic Kingdom Come in there, and basically what it is Batman and Catwoman are talking. Oh yeah, Catwoman's motivation is believable. That's another thing, but they're talking on a rooftop. It's just after their big back-to-back fight, and you know, they're talking, Batman turns away for a bit, he turns back, and Catwoman has just pulled the Batman exit, and he's like, so that's what that feels like. And basically in Kingdom Come, which is a great story, by the way, you should read that if you're into comics, and even if you're just thinking about it, but basically Superman pulls the same thing in Kingdom Come. That's all I gotta say. Enjoy the... I highly recommend you see this if you've seen any of the other Nolan films. If you don't like them, I don't think this is going to change your mind. Like, if The Dark Knight didn't change your mind, this might not either. But it's still just a great film. It's a great Batman film. And I gotta give it props for being a Batman film that has its big climax in the daytime. I don't remember a single one doing that. Like, that's impressive. Taking The Dark Knight out of the, well, night. So, that's all I gotta say. I'm gonna go rehydrate myself now. But yeah, this was good. Check it out. 'Cause I'm Batman.